What's up, everybody? It's HBT with the Straight Up Wrestling Show. And guys, I'm coming on live, man, just doing a show out here, just driving around a little bit, about to go and grab some food, so hey, finish up with a nice dinner for tonight. Guys, man, I've been contemplating, thinking about coming on all day, but basically been working on music. I'm working with a new artist that I'm producing. So I'm definitely working on his music and everything like that. Just been pretty lethargic. I was going to watch NXT, was going to watch Collision. Didn't get to watch those two. I did watch Battle of the Belts last night. Came out to be pretty good, man. Wasn't bad. Chris was telling me a lot of people out here dogging it out, man. But Battle of the Belts came out pretty good. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I thought it was pretty good. Besides, it was a couple things that was messed up. They did mess up that part where they had to they had to stop the broadcast there for a while because they lost the feed. Put it that way, they lost the feed, and they came back a little late. What's up, Facebook user? I'm not exactly sure who that is right now, but yeah, they lost the feed and came back and let us know that they was who won the match at the end of the show. But overall, man, I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't bad at all. I thought it was really good. Now, I do wish Lance Archer, I wish some title would have changed. That's one thing. The Battle of the Belts, that was Battle of the Belts 7, and there hasn't been any title changes at all on Battle of the Belts. And so that right there should have been taken care of last night. If you want to make a change and you coming out here, you trying to do something a little different, trying to say, okay, AEW is taking the next step, have somebody lose on Battle of the Belts. Straight up, man. I mean, I think Lance Archer should have ended up taking that title off of Orange Cassidy. I think that would have been a perfect time for Orange Cassidy to lose that title. But, man, it is what it is. But it is what it is with that. And overall, like I said, I thought Battle of the Belts was fine, man. It did a really good job with it, I think. And, Lance Archer, like I say, he deserves his due. Lance Archer definitely deserves his due. He's better than, he's better than probably about 80% of that roster, 70 to 80% of that roster. And it's time to put a title on that big man instead of having him run to New Japan all the time, over there languishing and everything. He should get his shot, and he should get a shot to wear a title over there in AEW. He's definitely worthy of that, man, in my opinion. And I'm going to go ahead and congratulate Willow Nightingale and Ricky Starks for winning the Owen Hart tournament. They the man and they represent, represent the male and the female winners of the Owen Hart tournament. Whatever way you want to see it, the men's and the women's side, those two were the winners. And I am so happy for Willow Nightingale and Ricky Starks, because Ricky Starks, they've had him on a roller coaster like crazy. And this guy is a clear-cut superstar, man. No ins, ands, or buts about it. He is a superstar, and they build him up as a superstar. They tore him down. Build him up as a superstar, tore him down. They have done this about 3 or 4 times where they done built him up and they have tore him back down. So hopefully this right here is put him on a trajectory of going all the way to the top and being one of the top 3 or 4 guys over there in AEW, because he definitely deserves that. We do have Willow Nightingale, which is really shocking me, and I'm glad that she ended up winning that tournament. I think who she beat, Ruby Soho. I haven't saw the match. That's something I'm gonna have to go back and see that, because I gotta watch these last 2 collisions, and I gotta watch NXT, which is my favorite. NXT right now is putting on these great shows, man. Every single Tuesday night they putting on a great show, and hey, look like it's gonna be one of the main brands, so that's cool too. But yes, congratulations again to Ricky Starks and Willow Nightingale and all their fans. And Willow Nightingale, she is getting a lot of, praise, man. As far as I'm talking about praise from guys like Tony Khan, the guys who's running this thing. What's up, Ray Underwood? I see you in the house. What's up? But yeah, she's really getting, she's getting her due. I mean, she beat on Rampage. She took out Athena. And that right there was no easy task. We all thought Athena was going to win that match, but Willow Nightingale ended up winning the match. And so big ups to her. And then she beat Ruby Soho. So, so Willow Nightingale, man, fan favorite. A lot of people love her. And a lot of things that she does is it's on point. And the girl has a lot of power. She picked up Nyla Rose, tossed up, knocked her through the ring, and pretty much, did like a football tackle and knocked her over. And and didn't have much problem picking her up. So, picking Nyla Rose up. So that was very shocking there. So, man, big ups to Willow Nightingale, straight up. Willow Nightingale. Big ups to her. And like I said, big ups to Ricky Starks. And I hope this is he's off to bigger and better things. And I hope they didn't do this just to pretty much try to say, okay, we got you in a good place and we let you win this tournament, and then take these two and then have and put them pretty much as mid-carders and everything like that. Definitely have those two as main event stars, especially Ricky Starks. I can see with Willow Nightingale, still building her up and everything like that. But Ricky Starks, he deserves to be at the top of that card. And man, let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, NWA Power. And I guess you can just call it the NWA or whatever. You can call it NWA Power. Those guys are talking about going back to the basics where it's clear cut, good guys and bad guys. And that is a thing in wrestling. Wrestling does need it, but when it boils down to it, do we really have to have it? Because, people cheer bad guys and they cheer good guys now. It's a total different ball game. But you can have that. You can blur the lines and pretty much have where you have everybody knows, okay, this is a good guy, this is a bad guy, and that's it. But people they're gonna cheer for their favorite either way it go. They're gonna cheer for their favorites, but it will be actually good if they do that, because when wrestling was doing that, when wrestling had this bad guy, good guy, I think it had an effect. I think it had an effect on society. Society was changing. I think society changed when you saw people like the Road Warriors, who was clear-cut bad guys, getting cheered. And then you saw a lot of other bad guys coming out there getting cheered after them. The Four Horsemen as an example. So society was changing at that time too. And I think wrestling was part of the driving force. And I know a lot of people might not want to agree with that, but a lot of people used to watch wrestling back then. We had basic cable and everything, and you had cable that maybe got, if you had the top packages in the country, you might have got 25 channels at that time, or 20. I might be lucky to get 18 to 23 or 25 channels, and that's the top packages, unless you had one of those big, huge satellites on the outside of your house. One of those. I'm talking about one of those big old satellites that's like 4 or 5 times, 7, 8 times bigger than what we see now. One of those old school satellites where you got all kind of different channels from all over the world, but I think wrestling, it was a huge driving force in that, and as far as the attitudes with people, and people just start cheering whoever they wanted to. The Road Warriors, you couldn't help for cheering those guys, man. You really couldn't. So we'll see how that plays out for NWA Power, and I hope it plays out really well for them. And I hope those guys really start making a move on the wrestling scene and pretty much get themselves out there to the masses a little bit more. I think that would be pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, I've been doing a lot of music and things like that, guys. Haven't really been, working. Haven't been watching wrestling today. I know I did a lot of things earlier in the week. Hopefully tonight, I talked to Christopher Burton a little bit later. Chris, get off at 6:00. Hopefully tonight we'll come on and we'll do another podcast. But I'm definitely looking forward to that. So hopefully, I'm just saying, hopefully that's what we do. If not, I'm just going to go ahead and chill with the wife, or I might get out here in the last couple of hours and cut a little bit of grass or whatever. But chill with the wife, I might just do grass tomorrow because it's kind of like done cooled off. And I definitely appreciate that, man. We had plenty of rain yesterday and some things cooled off today. Man, yeah, I appreciate everybody coming in, checking me out this afternoon. I'm just, like I say, I'm out here on this afternoon drive. Well, this evening drive. It's evening time now here on the East Coast. So I'm out here doing this evening drive, about to go and grab some food and everything. And wow, man. But yeah, let's talk about titles a little bit. Let's talk about titles since we talk about Battle of the Belts. Since it was Battle of the Belts, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna dig into this title thing. And I did have a podcast not too long ago, and we talked about titles. I talked about the importance of titles, and that's one thing that I do see as far as in wrestling that's off balance. This thing with titles, man, it has to get to the point where it's balanced, and these titles have to be meaningful. If they're not, wrestling's never going to get back to the point where it needs to be. It really isn't. And I mean, WWE is coming very close, but still, these titles are not meaning what they should mean. And I think once you take those tag team titles and put it in a position to where they're almost equal to the World Heavyweight Championship, man, then, you know, if you can get that ironed out, then you will have something. And then every secondary title next to that is going to mean just as much. I mean, of course, the Intercontinental Championship is going to be slightly ahead of the Tag Team Championship or right with it. It really depends on who's holding the title. And then you have your secondary title. You have your United States Heavyweight Championship, or you can make that the secondary title and then make the Intercontinental title a little bit below that. But, man, over there in AEW, it's very important for those guys to make their world titles so important. And then and make their world tag team titles very important to where, you know, the title that comes after them, after those two, the TBS title and that All-American, that All-Pacific title or whatever you want to call it, that Orange Cassidy has, those titles got to be jumbo, man. They got to be jumbo. And then I'm adding the women's titles in there too. But they got to be jumbo. They got to be very special over there, because that is what the NWA, that's what Jim Crockett Promotions, that's what had them competing with the WWE, is their titles meant so much. The guys that held those titles, man, Ric Flair holding the World Heavyweight Championship, Lex Luger being the United States Heavyweight Champion, Arn and Tully being the World Tag Team Champions, Midnight Express being the United States Tag Team Champions, or the, you know, so it was so many people, Rick and Scott Steiner holding those World Tag Team Championships, and they meant just as much, almost as much as Flair. It looked so good. The people that held those titles, it looked so good on those the guys that held those titles, man, that they just looked like the stronger company, because they had stronger wrestlers that had very, very important titles. So titles mean a lot, guys. So this title thing has got to get very important in AEW, for AEW to take that next step and just be really up there, man, really high echelon in the world of wrestling. They got to get these titles, man. They got to get these titles to where they mean so much. I mean, think about it. At one point, when you had Flair as the World Heavyweight Championship, you had Sting as the United States Champion. You had Rick and Scott Steiner. They was the World Tag Team Champions. You had Steve Austin, who was your TV channel TV champion, and you had and I think at the time, I think it was Harlem Heat had the TV titles. The TV tag titles at that time. So you had a great roster of champions at that time, man. And you know, that right there was the sustainability of your company. It was great, man. It was excellent planning, and that's what AEW needs. And AEW has, I'm not gonna say they have that array of talent, but they have enough talent to where they can adorn these their champions of, you know, and put them in that position. They can put those titles on the right people, and they definitely can line them up to where they have meaningful matches, and their titles mean that much to the wrestling public, just like over in the WCW. But that's what made WCW special, guys. It really did. But let me go ahead and get a couple. Let me go ahead and look and check and see who's doing this thing with goodness sake, I just turned on the radio. All right, Facebook user, Sup Moon Dog, your friend from Japan. What's up? Wayne Cochran, man. Wayne Cochran, my man from Japan. All right, Ray Underwood. How's it going, Harry? Going very good, Ray. Appreciate you coming on. But guys, that's pretty much it, man. I was gonna stay on a lot longer, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just go ahead and get out here, and I'm just gonna enjoy some music or something like that. Go over here, and I gotta run to the bank, and then I'm gonna go and get something to eat, and then hopefully I'll see you guys tonight. But hey, it depends on what Chris is doing. But I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Have a good night, man. Stay straight up. And before you leave, definitely hit that like, share, join if you're on Facebook. You're on YouTube, hit that like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, ding, 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 so you can know when we're on like times like these. Do the same thing over on Twitch. And on Twitter, hit that like, share, tweet, and retweet, and follow the Straight Up Wrestling Show over there on Twitter. I definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys, man. I'll talk to you later. Stay straight up. Peace.